Okay, so we're starting at 21. Okay, so this is one of those quadratics, inequalities that we factored and then did those critical values on the number line. All right, so again, this factor is pretty easy. Factors of 8 that add up to 6 are 2 times 4, right? So x plus 2 and x plus 4. Okay, so my two critical values are -2 and -4. So what we did, we made the number line. Okay, and since there's no equal to, we put circles at -2 and -4, and then we split it up into 3 sections to figure out where to draw our lines. So we picked the number left of -4, between -2 and -4, and right of -2, which whenever I can use 0, I use the 0. And then we just plugged it in the original problem to see if it works or not. So when I put -5 here, I get -5 squared, 25. And 6 times -5, -30, plus 8. So 25 minus 30 is -5, plus 8 would be 3. Is 3 less than 0? No, so I wouldn't draw an arrow towards the -5. When I put -3 in there, I get a positive 9. 6 times -3 is -18, and then plus 8. So that's 9 minus 18 would be -8, or -9, plus 8 would be -1. That is less than 0. So I'd connect those. Then when I put 0 in, I'd get, 8. 0 squared, 6 times 0, 0, so it's just the 8, and 8 is not less than 0. So that's what our graph would look like. Okay, so just factor that one, and once you get those two, basically they're the zeros, but we call them the critical values here. Just pick a number left, middle, and right, and put it in and see what works so you can tell where to draw your graph. 22, excuse me. This was one of those variation problems, all right? When it was direct, remember, you can write this on your little note card if you want. But when it's a direct variation, it's multiplication. Remember, and K is in all of these, right? Constant of variation is in all those. Direct was multiplication. Inverse was division. Joint was multiplication. At least twice. Right? There's a couple things you multiply. All right? So when you see that word varies in a problem, you got to have that constant of variation in there, even though you don't see the K. All right, so here's what it said. It says, write the equation to express the relationship between the variables and use the given data to solve for K. So it says T varies. So T equals K. When I saw the word, so T varies, whenever you see that varies, equals K. Then it says directly, so times the cube of R. That means R to the third power, right? Cube to the third power. And inversely, so this was a combination one, and inversely divided by as the square root of S. So there's our little equation from that statement. T varies directly as the cube of R and inversely as the square root of S. Okay, then it said we were supposed to solve for K. So they give us T is 12. R is 6, and S was 0.16. Okay? So what I would do is figure out what 6 cubed is and the square root of 0.16. Just use your calculator. I think it's 216, 6 cubed. And square root of 0.16, so 0.4, I believe. I'll make sure. So 6 cubed, yeah, and then the square root of 0.16, 0.4. Okay. So what I would do is move the 0.4 first. Since it's division, I would do multiplication. All right. So I got that 0.4 there already. So let's go times 12. There's 4.8 on the left now. And then I'll divide that by 216 to finish it up. And that'll be whatever K is. That's all we have to do then. So I already got that 0.48 or 4.8 in there, divided by 216. So it's 0.02 repeating. Okay? So remember, varies, directly multiplication, inversely division. It's probably going to be the same type of problem. Just change up the numbers. So it'll probably be like that. It'll probably be multiplication and division. Okay? Might even be the same one here. Just, again, I'll change what R and S and T are. Probably is what I did. Midpoint formula for 23. Oh, distance and midpoint, right? So distance. So you probably want to put this in or on your little note card so you have it. It's x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And take the square root of that answer. And then midpoint, okay, is you add the two x's, x1 plus x2 divided by 2, basically the average of the x's and the y's. Add the two y's and divide by 2. Whatever those two numbers are is the midpoint, the halfway point between the 2 points. Okay? So the 2 points for 23 was 4, 7, and negative 3, 11. Okay? So for distance, x2, negative 3, minus x1, 4, squared, plus y2, 11, minus y1, 7, squared. Okay? So negative 3 minus 4 is a negative 7. When I square it, that's 49. And 11 minus 7 is 4, squared is 16. So that'd be the square root of, what is that, 65? Did I do that right? I think. Yeah. So you can leave it as a radical, or you can just divide it. It's 8.1 if you want to do the decimal. Either one I'll accept. And then for midpoint, all right, would be 4 plus negative 3 divided by 2. And 7 plus 11 divided by 2. Well, 4 plus negative 3 is 1. Divided by 2 is a half. 7 plus 11 is 18. Divided by 2 would be 9. So 1/2, 9 would be the midpoint. Okay with that? Okay, so just use those formulas. So just make sure you have that little note card with you. Just plug in. All right, 24. Give you an equation. 5x plus 2y equals 20. And you're supposed to find the x-intercept. And that's when the y is 0. And the y-intercept And that's when the x is 0. Okay, so the way I do it is I just cover up the y. 5 times what is 20? 5 times what is 20? 4. Thank you. 2 times what is 20? 10. That's all I got to do. Easy problem. Okay? $25, I think, is a circle problem, isn't it? Yeah. Okay? So x plus 2 squared plus y minus 5 squared equals 64. Okay, so that's our basic equation for a circle. The center is what makes this 0 and that 0. So basically the opposite. -2, +5 is the center. And then the radius is the square root of that. Okay, so square root of 64 would be 8. So that's all you got to do there. Tell the center and the radius. Okay? So that's a pretty easy problem. We didn't do we didn't do those that long ago. 26 is one of those piecewise functions. It's got a couple pieces, this one. All right, one piece is 3x squared plus 2x minus 4. And that's when x is less than or equal to 1. And the other piece is -2x plus 8 when x is bigger than 1. Okay? So we got 3 answers you got to find here. All right, you got to find f of 3, f of -2, and f of 1. All right? So does 3 fit in that inequality or the bottom inequality? The bottom one. So then I use the bottom function. -2 times 3 is -6 plus 8 equals 2. So that's the answer for that one. -2, does that fit in the top inequality or the bottom one? The top one, right? -2 is less than or equal to 1. So I put it in the top function. Okay, -2 squared is 4 times 3 is 12. 2 times -2 is -4. Okay, 12 minus 4 is 8, minus 4 is 4. Okay, you can just put it all in your calculator just like that, and it'll give you the right answer. Where does the 1 fit? Does that fit in the top inequality or the bottom one? It's in the top one, right? So I put that 1 in that top function. All right, so 1 squared is 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. 5 minus 4 is 1. So 2, 4, and 1 are the answers. You don't have to do anything extra. You just got to figure out which function to plug the number in. Yeah.
How do you know which one it goes in?
Well, you just look at this number, and you plug it here. Does it fit there? Is 3 less or equal to 1? No. Is 3 bigger than 1? Yeah. So that's why I put it in there. Any other questions? Okay. 27. The stuff's getting closer to what we've done in the last few weeks. I gave you 2 points that a line goes through. And you have to find the equation of the line. Okay, in slope-intercept form, which is this. y equals mx plus b. Okay? So the first thing I gotta do is find the slope. So the slope formula is this, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So there's something else you should put on your note card. Okay? So the second y, find the slope first. Second y, -9, minus the first y, -5, over second x1 minus first x6. All right, so minus the -5 is +5. So -9 plus 5 is -4. And 1 minus 6 is -5. So two negatives make it a positive. So my slope is 4/5. Okay, so the next thing I do is I just put this in for m. So I can write y equals 4/5 x plus b. So the only part I got to figure out now is the b part, the y-intercept. Okay? So I pick one of these 2 points, it doesn't matter which one, and plug in for x and y, and then I'll solve for b. Okay? So I'm going to use the 6, -5. Okay? So -5 is my y, and 6 is my x. And then I'm just going to solve for b. 4/5 times 6 is 24/5. I just did 6 times 4. And then to finish up, I subtract the 24/5. So just put that in your calculator. You don't have to try to do anything special there. So what is it again? -5 minus 24/5. All right, so -5 minus, and then just put it in parentheses, 24/5. It's -9.8. If you want to leave it as a decimal, that's fine. If you want to write the fraction, hit math and enter twice. -49/5. Personally, I like fractions, but decimal's fine. Okay, if you wanted it to be 4/5 to make it 0.8, you can do it. So what I do now is I take this and I put it in B right there, so I have my equation. So the answer to this is y equals 4/5 x minus 49/5. Hopefully it won't be all fractions for you on your exam. But if it is, you can handle it. Just use your calculator. Okay. 28 is similar to this. I give you a point that a line goes through. Then I give you an equation of a line, but it says perpendicular to this line. So the line you're looking for is perpendicular to this line that they give you. So the slope of this line that I'm giving you is -3/4. What's the slope of the line that's perpendicular to that? 4/3, positive, right? So the way I'm going to start this one is write y equals 4/3 x plus b. What if you're on your exam, it says parallel to that one? You just use that -3/4, right? So it'll be one of those. Okay, and then use the point you're given. So -1 in for the y, 2 in for the x, which is 8/3. It's 4 times 2. Just do the numerator. You don't do the denominator when you multiply. All right. So again, just put -1 minus 8 divided by 3 in parentheses. You can use that if you want. -3.6 repeating, or change it to the fraction. -11/3. Okay, so again, I'm going to put that here for my answer. So y equals 4/3 x minus 11/3. Okay, that's the equation of the line that matches those conditions. Okay, number 29, looking for vertex and axis of symmetry of a parabola. All right, so we got x squared minus 4x plus 7. Okay. So I always do axis of symmetry first. And that's this little formula. Okay, negative b over 2a. So this would be negative, and b is negative 4 over 2 times 1, which is a positive 4 divided by 2, which would be 2. So x equals 2 is one answer. And then the vertex, got half that already. Whatever you got for the axis of symmetry is the x value of your vertex. And then you plug that 2 in to the problem. So I put 2 in for x, wherever there's an x. Whatever that answer is the y value of the vertex. So we got 4 minus 8 plus 7, which is negative 4 plus 7 is a 3, right? So those are the two answers for 29. Just the axis of symmetry and the vertex. Don't do anything else. All right, we did more than that on our quiz. Week before last. And then 30s like we did last week. Quiz. The function stuff. So f of x is x squared plus 2. And g of x is 3x minus 1. Okay? So you have to do two composition functions, or log of 1, right? And then log of x. So those are the last two things you got to do. Okay? So when you do the circle, the composition of functions, you do the back one first. So I do g of 1 first. So that's 3 times 1 is 3 minus 1, that's a 2. I use that answer, that 2, and put it in the f function then, which would be 2 squared, right? So 2 squared plus 2. So 2 squared is 4 plus 2 is 6. So that one's 6. This one, we put f of x, which is this, into the g function. Okay? So this is g of x squared plus 2. That's what we're doing. So it's 3 times x squared plus 2. Put that in place of the x. Minus 1. So distribute your 3 and combine like terms. So that's 3x squared plus 6 minus 1, which is 3x squared plus 5. That is what we did last week. So the last few things is pretty recent. Hopefully you remember. Make sure you have that little note card with you. Put your name on it. Just turn it in with you when you're done Friday. Okay, tomorrow we're going to do the first 19. And then Friday we'll do the last 11. You should be ready. If you paid attention and tried, you should be ready to go. Don't have to do much outside of class.